Hello everybody, we are here with round, I believe, 15 now in Hyperdrive, and we are heading to the Singapore Grand Prix where we will continue to try to accomplish our goal of winning the Constructors' Championship, which we really closed in on the lead. I forget exactly what the points tally was. I'm actually going to pull that up so I have it later as the video progresses. And we are still looking to get second in the Drivers' Championship. Unfortunately, going into this race, we are fourth in the Drivers' Championship after the terrible luck we had in the Netherlands. But we are right behind, only 1 or 2 points behind both Williams. And yeah, then obviously Kieran, aka Sly Guy, in the Alfa Romeo, is running away with the championship. But we still have a very good shot, especially with the next two races being very good tracks for me, that being Singapore and then Abu Dhabi, which you just saw me win in yesterday's video, or yesterday or 2 days ago, depending how long it takes this video to upload. So yeah, headed into this race, feeling pretty good about it. Again, I don't know what people are doing different from me or what information I'm missing out on that people have these qualifying specific setups, but that's not me. I don't have those qualifying specific setups. I always just run a race setup, so it always seems like I'm lacking a couple of tenths in qualifying. But in the race, I've been feeling really good. The last few races, especially my practice on this track. And yeah, I was feeling really confident into this one. Because of the amount of entrants we got for this race, it is short qualifying instead of full qualifying. So we'll be going into a little bit more detail of the qualifying session since I got the recording of the whole thing, since the qualifying session was shorter. So heading into this lap, I put a lot of practice in, so I was feeling confident that I could just nail the lap pretty much immediately. Feel free to push on my laps because I know there's no way. And I have a rare mistake here, which is embarrassing, but my thumb literally slipped off my stick. And yeah, so that's how our first run went. So we're going to go into the pits, possibly throw on another set of tires, and we'll get back out there. Coming to the line to make an actual run this time. This is still the first run, definitely. That was just a outtake that you just saw. Let's head into turn one using all the width of the track. Probably could have took just a little bit more curb there on the inside of one, but the rest is nice and solid so far. Quick onto the power. Here you can take a little bit of curb, but you don't want to take too much curb. You kind of mount the car over the curb. It causes you to understeer a little bit, which makes it more tricky for you to get to the throttle early on the exit of the corner. But here you can, again, I could have taken more curb there on the inside. Those are the little things, like I always say, you try to remember for your next run. Take a perfect line through there. Solid corner here as well, using all of the width, which is the key on, well, every track. But I feel like Singapore is another one of those tracks where it's extra important because, there's a lot of little sections where you can kind of mount over curbs. And certain sections where, if you're getting that little bit closer to the wall, that time really does add up over the course of the lap. Not just in the width of the track, but the straighter you have the car, the quicker you can get on the throttle, which is where I feel, honestly, the biggest part of the time gain is when you use the full width of the track. So a nice solid lap here. Mount the curb there. Do not mount the curb there. The car will bottom out over the curb and you will greatly understeer. You can clip these curbs, but you don't want to hit them too hard. This one you can take a little bit and use the whole width of the track as the wall kind of opens up there. And coming to the line, we are going to have pole position, a 136.5, and a solid lap on our first go. I was very happy with that. Get a nice solid lap in right away. Saw what little sections of the lap I could possibly improve on, and I'm ready to try to extend my advantage on my second lap. So before we head into this final lap, I got the numbers, and I actually, at this point in the championship, was trailing second place in the championship. Like I said, I was fourth. I was actually trailing second place by 47 points, which is a decent way back, especially after what happened at the Netherlands with their bad luck. And Constructors, we trailed by 34 points. But Constructors is, still easier to make up points, and we still got a few races left to, this is only round, I believe, round 15, so we still got plenty of rounds left, about a third of a season to make up the gap in the Drivers' Championship. You know, it's going to be a tall order to be able to get second place. But I'm still confident, you know, I got what it takes to do it, and I want to set my goals high. You know, I always want to be pushing to the limit, playing to the best I can, and, you know, setting high goals, because that's how you improve as a person and improve as a player. And so far in this lap, if you paid attention to where I said I could improve last time, I made those improvements so far on this lap. So if I can just mimic what I did on the first lap for Sector 2 and 3, we could be improving on our what was already so far a pole lap time, which would be massive for us, especially with what I just said about how we stand in the points, both constructors and drivers. I really need to start getting an advantage and not just coasting by, getting, you know, decent finishes. I really need to start putting inroads in for getting big points, consistent podiums. I know I've been capable of doing it, but bad luck or not, you know, we got to start making it happen at some point if we want to accomplish our goals. And we're having a great lap so far. We're going to come up to the line soon. The session is about to be ours. This is going to be our last lap. And as we cross the line, it is an improvement. It's a 4/10 improvement. We put in a 1:36.1. And as it stands, we are on pole position. You can see here as the session concluded, we would be P2 going into the race, which is going to be starting right about now. I lied, actually. We actually got beat by the Haas as well, so we ended up P3. But skipping the formation lap right off the start, same strategy as always. Don't need to repeat myself there. We get a great launch off the line, but nowhere really to go. We got medium rudder ahead of us in the Haas, so that's kind of an advantage to us, because hopefully he can keep a gap going so we don't get held up and get eaten up by cars behind, because I'm sure he isn't the only driver on the grid that is on the the medium tire, I'm sorry. So we got a decent start on the hards, a little bit of skipping around going on around me, which made me worry a little bit, but, you know, nothing too bad, nothing really to affect us. We got a good start. We just need to settle into a rhythm, and yeah, we're looking really good right now. If I can even remotely keep up with the Haas, then that will end up being a position that we will gain towards the end of the race, even if there's no safety car, which I'm sure there will be at some point. We just need to hope it doesn't come out at a time that will screw us over. Yeah, no, I'm repeating myself, you know, good start so far, and this is the longest race, you know, in terms of how much time it takes of the year natively, you know, not including safety cars. 31 laps on a track that already has one of the longest lap times of the season. Really got to think about playing the long game on this track. But even with that said, since it is a track that is a little bit more on the difficult side to overtake on, being in a decent position right off the start like I am here is definitely something I really wanted, and I was happy to nail my qualifying going into this, doing the best lap that I felt like I could do. And I find myself in a good position where I look like I can fight for probably P2 in this race. Haas is breaking away a little bit on the medium tire, but like I always say, when I get on that medium tire at the end of the race, I will be mighty quick. We do have the Ferrari coming up, getting a little close behind us, but I couldn't see quite if he was a medium runner, and if he is a medium runner, then, you know, every lap where he isn't getting by me is just great for us. And even if he does get by me, hopefully he starts pulling away, honestly, like the Haas does, so he doesn't hold me up and make me vulnerable to more cars behind. As we tick the halfway through lap 3, the Ferrari remains close to me, but not really battling with me. We see a full course yellow, and we will see that it's just a virtual safety car. I was honestly happy to see that it was just a virtual safety car. I didn't really want the whole field to reset at this point, because I felt like I was in a pretty good position. Honestly, it would help my case to beat the Haas in front of us, a Volcano Master, if it was a full safety car, but being well ahead of my two rival Williams in the Drivers' Championship, as it stands, I was very happy with this remaining virtual safety car. Keep my on-track advantage. Just kind of just neutralizes things. And if anything, it still does help me out, because like I always say, this is the part of the race where the medium runners need to be breaking away, and they're obviously not going to be doing that if the field is neutralized. After the virtual safety car, we would advance to lap 5. The Ferrari would be pretty aggressive behind us with his ERS usage. He's going to be able to get alongside with the help of the DRS. I see that he's on the medium tire, so I'm not going to overfight him. Make sure I respect the space. He has really good grip on those medium tires at this point in the race, so I'm not going to overfight it. He makes the overtake on us, which is a little bit annoying. But hey, like I said, he was on a different strategy than us. So at this point, on it being lap 5 and him just barely being in front of us, this is still completely fine for us. Now we have our teammate behind us, who I believe is also on the medium tire. If I can get a good glimpse. If I remember correctly, he was also on the medium tire. So yeah, while it looks bad that, at this point in the race, I've moved backwards slightly, the Haas is starting to break away a little bit, we're still sitting good for a great podium finish with how things stand right now. The laps would tick on, and as we come around the pits for this lap, we will see that we will actually gain a position here. And at the moment that this happened, I was unsure who ahead had pit to give me the position. It obviously wasn't the Ferrari in front of us. So the only other options is whether it was Volcano Master, who was on the medium tire, which would be one medium runner that I don't have to worry about in the future, or it could have been Kieran, which would have been massive because he was on the same strategy as us with the hard tires and was pulling away. So either way, regardless of who it was, that makes my chances of getting P2 in this race really good, which would be massive for both the drivers and constructors, especially considering that my teammate's right behind me, now in 4th. That would be big points for us. On lap 12, well, the beginning of lap 12, end of lap 11, you would see that my teammate would pit. Chalkers has retired from the session, and we are going to have a full course safety car. And this is really going to switch things up now. I have a decision to make with the pit stop. Luckily, I didn't just pit and have... Oh, I guess it wouldn't matter if I would have just pit because the safety car would immediately come out anyhow. But yeah, this changes things up. We're about a third of the race in. A lot of it was pretty stagnant in terms of, I was just behind the Ferrari in front of my teammate. But even though I say that, it's not like I'm just casually cruising. We are all racing to the limit, getting every 10th of a second out of these laps as we can. So even when it looks like there isn't much going on in these races, we are pushing it the whole time. Even if it looks like not much is changing in terms of the timing, you still got to be on your A game at all points of these races. I even feel somewhat mentally tired after these races, the amount of focus you got to put in. But now I got to put my mental focus into decision making, trying to anticipate what's going to happen in the future and what's the best decision for me right now. And at this point, according to the notes I had, mediums, if the remaining 19 laps were all green flag running, the mediums would barely make it. But with there being some safety car laps, that will definitely help the tire wear early on in the stint. So pitting to the medium tire is definitely the way to go. So at this point of the race, this is actually a big advantage to us over everyone that started on the medium tire, because I was on the hards. I already used up the slowest tire, and the mediums can go to the end. Now, obviously, the hards can go to the end as well, but they're not going to be as fast as the tire, honestly. So for once, the strategy has kind of fallen into our hands, which is kind of unbelievable to say out loud because this never fucking happens to us, It's usually always the opposite. But as it stands right here, we are in a fantastic position. And once we catch up to the safety car, we'll be able to figure out who was it that had spun or pit, whatever happened to them to cause them to pit. I doubt they spun. We would have passed them, I guess, hit a wall. And I did have my engineer with me for this race, so he did not have eyes on the stream to be able to tell me who it was. And as I look ahead, I can see that that's a Haas leading, a Volcano Master, which means it was Kieran, the championship leader, and the at-time race leader, that was the one that made a mistake, got himself damaged, and had to make an unscheduled pit stop. So this puts us in a fantastic position. The Haas ahead, he's either on fresh hards or old mediums. I saw the Ferrari pit with me, so he's on fresh hards, and I'm on fresh mediums. I have by far the best tire situation of the top 3. I could very easily get myself in a position to overtake both of these guys and take the lead of this race and be able to take these tires to the end. This is a fantastic situation for me to be in right now, but still a lot of racing to go on a very difficult track. I still need to absolutely stay focused at this point. End of lap 15, start of lap 16 is when the safety car is coming in. I got a decent jump. I'm using these tires to my advantage. I'm going to use ERS to my advantage, and I'm going to use the fact that I can brake later to my advantage to immediately take second place over AC Immortal in the hard tire. And I'm going to try to make this overtake happen on Volcano Master quickly, so when I can pull a gap to the other cars behind that I know are just as quick or close to as quick as me, also on fresh medium tires. A little bit of mistake must have happened behind me, a little peek behind me. I saw the proximity errors disappear, and there was a mistake behind us, so that opens up a gap behind us. Now we are in an incredible position. All we need to do is complete this overtake on the Haas when we have a big tire advantage, and we will be in the driver's seat, both figuratively and literally, to drive away with our first win of the season. And that would be massive, considering how we started out this season, where our pace was probably about P7 in the early races, and now we've gotten ourselves improving over time. We got to a point where our pace was probably around, P5, and then we got ourselves to the place where we're probably consistently on pace to fight for podiums, but just haven't had the luck to do it consistently. Now we're in a position to be able to get our first win, which is great for the championship, and it's just a great in terms of the psyche. You put a lot of time into a game to improve and get good at, and like I said, going from battling around P7 to like P5 and then podiums, and then now be able to get that win, it just kind of completes that full cycle of fighting every week to improve and get my way to be fighting for wins. And there's nothing like getting that first win of the season, especially so deep into the season when you're still fighting even for a Constructors' Championship. But I can't be relying on that win yet. I still have to earn it, and we still have a lot of work to do left in this race. We are into the second half of the race now, but it being the longest race of the season, still a lot of work to go. No DRS yet, but we're going to burn some ERS to see if we can get a good run on Volcano Master. Slipstream very weak in this game, even with the high downforce on these cars on this track. But we're sticking right up his chuff. We have a tire advantage, and we're going to be looking to be in a great position to possibly make an overtake once the DRS is activated next lap. On lap 18 now, the next lap, we now have DRS to our advantage. Will this be the lap where we make it happen? We need to be, really picking and choosing when we go for it, because we're going to have to use ERS as well, and that isn't something you get back so easily. We're going to use ERS. We're going to get the DRS. We can see ourselves gaining quickly. We're going to dive to the inside, nearly make contact with the rear, and we are going to get into the lead of the Singapore Grand Prix. And that was a great feeling moment for me, knowing that I didn't just take the lead on the track, but this is a position to win the race. I don't have to make another pit stop. There isn't someone on fresher tires flying up behind me. I am in the position now to win this race, and I've actually had some good luck in a race. It is all coming together on a track I love and a track that I've always really had success on. And yeah, this was a great moment for me. Felt awesome, but hey, we still got a lot of racing left to go. We are breaking away quickly from Volcano Master behind, so we don't have to worry about him fighting us back too much. Now I just need to stay clean in terms of penalties. I believe I only had one warning at this point. Yeah, and just hope that the safety car doesn't come out and we can just cruise away for the victory. As the laps would tick by, the mediums would start to fall off a little bit. Volcano Master would use his ERS to stay with us in our DRS, but not really getting close enough to make an overtake. But none of that matters now, because unfortunately a safety car has come out, and I was pissed when this happened, because I thought I was in position, to just cruise off for a win. And at this point I now had 2 warnings, so I need to be extra careful. And as soon as this safety car came out, and I looked in the top left corner, I realized that there had been a lot of retirements in this race. We're actually down to 9 drivers on the track, and I know that there's a decent sized gap between Volcano Master in second and the rest of the field, which means that it's very low risk for me to go for a pit stop. And I basically made my mind up. If you saw me mess with my MFD, I made my mind up very quickly that we are going to box and we're going to go into a fresh set of softs for the end of this race. And hopefully we get ourselves in another situation. Well, honestly, we're going to be in a good situation no matter what, where we're not going to lose many positions in the pits, even if no one else pits. So we'll kind of be in the same situation we were, where we're on a fresher, softer tire and have a big tire advantage over the field. Or if everyone pits with me, then we're all on equal playing ground, and I still have the lead. Both situations sounded good to me. So we're going to be diving into the pits for a fresh set of softs, getting into the pits as quickly as possible without getting a penalty. So if no one else pits behind, we lose the fewest amount of positions as possible. Volcano Master behind pits with us. We go purple and turning because it's the easiest fucking thing in the world. Hopefully we get good RNG with the pit stop time. We do. We get the perfect RNG with the 2.3 second pit stop. Now, how many positions do we lose? It looks like we are going to fall to P4. Unless if there's someone else coming down the front stretch. We're going to look behind, see that no one else is coming. So, okay, that is not bad at all. We're going to be in P4 with a gigantic tire advantage and an opportunity to take the win. The only thing I was worried about at this point is that with Volcano Master immediately behind me, also on fresh sauce, if I kind of get held up by a car ahead, that would just make me very vulnerable to him. So that was the one thing I was worried about most at this juncture, but I was still feeling very confident that I could do exactly what I did after the first safety car, which was quickly make overtakes of the cars that I had a tire advantage over, and hopefully get back to the lead of this race and get our first win of the season, which would be massive considering the point situation I told you guys about earlier. Safety car comes in at the end of lap 27. We will have 4 green flag laps of racing, which is still a decent amount of racing here at Singapore. We see that AC Immortal is going to do a late start. We try to time it the best we can. We do get a good jump, and I'm going to go for this right here, right now, because I'm on fresh softs and he was on old mediums. The move works out. I felt a lot more comfortable about it in the heat of the moment than I did watching it back, but that's how it seems with a lot of things. The Mercedes is going to viciously defend on these hard tires, so we can't quite make the move there. But we're going to burn ERS to try to get around him as quickly as possible. Now our teammate's coming up behind us on fresh tires. The Mercedes is going to defend well and use a bunch of ERS, so we're not going to be able to make the overtake happen there. But with the tire advantage, can we squeak by on the inside? No, we cannot. Our teammate's now trying to get by us, and this is exactly what I was worried about. I'm getting held up by a slower car, which just makes me vulnerable to the other guys on fresh tires behind me. This Mercedes is defending like a lion, which I totally get, but there's no way he's going to hold us off when we're on fresh softs, and we make a mistake there, turning too early, and now we have a 3-second time penalty. I was so pissed when that happened. I've been driving so well the whole race, and now I might have just thrown away my opportunity to win. We're going to act like we're not going to go for the move at the last second. We're going to dive down the inside, even though he was defensive. We went more inside than he did. We get the move done. Easy to outbrake him when he's on old hards and we're on fresh softs. And now that gives me another car in between me and the other fresh soft runners. If I can make the move on AC Immortal here quickly, then maybe, just maybe, they could hold everyone else up enough that we can build ourselves a 3-second gap and get our first win of the season, regardless of just getting a time penalty, which was so frustrating, because when you're pushing so hard for so long, you know, all it takes is you extend the track limit a little bit and it gives you a penalty. And I've been doing such a good job of keeping my nose clean, but you know, sometimes you just make mistakes, and that was certainly one right there. But at least it wasn't a mistake that just completely ruins my whole race. We are right up the chuff of this Ferrari. We're going to use all of the ERS because we need to make this move happen as soon as possible with the slipstream, and the ERS is going to be just enough to get alongside him, and there's no way he's going to be able to defend that on those old tires when we're on these fresh softs. And luckily I have a good race setup too, so I don't have to worry about my tires overheating, and I can push. Now it's time for me to just push like a madman, because while getting a good solid podium position is great for me, at this point I was thinking about getting this win. I felt like I deserved it. I felt like I had earned it, and now I kind of got to re-earn it away. But at the same time, if I lost it, you know, it's my fault, dumb fault, I got the penalty. So just got to do whatever I can at this point. When I look behind me, I can see I've already opened up a little bit of a gap there. So I was huffing some hopium at this point, seeing that they hadn't all the fresh soft runners gotten by AC Immortal immediately. Hopefully he can hold him off here in Sector 3 because that is a very windy sector on old tires. You know, for me to have a tire advantage, that can help me open up this gap a little bit more. So I was thinking, you know, maybe, just maybe, the win could still be on the cards here, even though I had gotten that 3-second time penalty. And as we come to the front stretch, you'll probably see I will look behind me. I will try to be counting in my head, and I see the gap open up. Now I'm really starting to think that this is possible, and with 2 laps to go, I'm just going to absolutely push as hard as I can to do everything I can. I see my teammate has pit, which means the closest soft runner that was behind me has now pit with damage, and then I look behind there, and I see the gap is rather large, and we are starting to believe that we can open up this 3-second gap and still get this win. Coming to the end of lap 30, about to start the final lap of the race. I can push really hard because since I just got the penalty, it gives me 2 more track limits to work with. Volcano Master is out of the session. That was the other guy with fresh softs, the Haas right behind me. And now it is starting to rain. Shit is absolutely hitting the fan. And when I looked back, I didn't really see anyone close to me. I think we got the 3-second gap that we need to win this race. Only 7 cars remain in this wild Singapore Grand Prix. But the rain is falling, so I have to focus. I look behind me. I definitely got the 3-second gap. We get the gap behind. And if you heard that, I don't remember exactly what the number was, and I can't hear it as I do the recording, but I remember one thing. It was sure as fuck more than 3 seconds, which was the only thing that I was worried about. So we are still going to push, because I don't know if someone's on fresh tires behind there really quick. It could be Kieran for all I know. I don't know what's going on behind me, so I still got to execute. I still have 1 warning I can kind of work with, too. If I feel the grip a little sketchy, you know, I can go ahead and exceed track limits on 1 corner. Last time over the bridge in this race, I just got about a little less than half of a lap to go now to win our first race of the season. I got plenty of a gap behind. The rain is falling, but it isn't really making any bit of a difference on the surface of the track yet. But I'm still hyper focused in on the force feedback of my controller to make sure that I do not exceed the limit of the grip here on the last lap. I'm going to ask one more time about the driver behind, but I'm accidentally going to hit driver in front like an idiot. But who cares? We only got a couple corners to go. Just a couple corners to see if we had given ourselves the 3-second gap to win the race. Coming around the last corner, we see the checker flag. We count in our head, 1001, 1002, 1003. No one else crosses the line behind us. We get the victory voice message, and we have won the Singapore Grand Prix, and boy was I fucking pumped about that one. Like I said, from being at the point at the beginning of the season where my pace wasn't like what it was last season, where I was fighting for the win on every race, you know, fighting for kind of mid to back end of points, to then improve and, you know, be fighting around like 5th, to then improve and be fighting around 3rd, now being in a position where I've been the last few races where I'm always fighting in the podium positions for 2nd or maybe even possibly a win, to finally getting that win. It's just really great for my championship, and it's just a really good feeling to see your hard work pay off and yourself moving up the rankings as the season goes on. So yeah, we will finally get our first win of the season and also make excellent inroads in both championships. Thank you guys for watching this one. Glad I can give you a lot more of an exciting race than it was yesterday. There you can see the standings. The Williams are not in the points, which really helps our case for still having a chance at P2. And a great result for constructors as well. We will see you guys in the next one.